Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Nightly Recap. I'm your host, Hotep Jesus, and I am joined tonight with the incomparable Crypto Landy, aka Langley Landy. I gave him that nickname because he's so good at what he does. I'm pretty sure he works for the CIA. We're going to dive into some of the news from this week surrounding the charts. Where is the market going in the future? My prediction is last week is the last bullish week. After that, the bears come out. That's my prediction. I'm going to bring Landy in. And Landy may or may not agree with me. But he's going to pull out the charts. He's going to talk all that technical jargon. He's going to point at the screen, put a lot of lines on the screen. We're going to find out, is last week the last pop before the bears come in? Without further ado, Langley Landy.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
What is up, brother? How are you?
Life is good. How are you, bro?
I'm freaking loving it. Look, the trades have just been, it's flow state for the trading.
Really?
For all of the trading lately. It's just been beautiful.
Why?
Well, because I've been trading commodities and everybody else is stuck trading garbage everywhere else.
Yeah. Silver's been good to me this week.
Yeah. I actually have a short position open on silver that I'm building out.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Why?
I'm an insane person. Well, because I made so much damn money on the way up, I might as well start hedging. And I'm willing to build that hedge out till 105, which is fairly close
105?
Yeah. I'll stop building at 105 and I'll give it some room to keep cooking if it's going to cook, and I'll stop out above there if I need to.
105?
Yeah, it hit 103. I actually have a silver chart. And I'm okay if I get burned on it. It's not like I've made so much damn money on it. It's purely a hedge. This is now up towards another one of my a major fib level that I was looking at above 98 to 100. I was looking at a 2414 around 103 to 105. So I opened the short at 95.50 on the daily. So I was here essentially somewhere around these two candles. And
Wait, what's the ticker?
It's silver. This is CFDs on silver. You could do XAG though. Either or. This is just silver, and this is the CFDs on silver. So you can also do XAG. So you can do.
Why does mine say 100,000?
I don't know. If you just type silver into TradingView, the very first one that you'll get is
silver US/ounce.
Yeah, the
TVC.
You're gonna get and that's CFDs on silver. That'll be the first one. That's the one that I use because that's the most common one that people look at.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 103.2. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm retarded. So wait.
I started opening. I took I opened a scalp position short here, and then I paid myself for my fees on the candle down, and then I told people on Space that I was doing this, and don't copy me. And then I'm building up through that 100 to 105 essentially. I'm going to build out a swing position. And my risk tolerance is pretty wide on it. So like I'm not super leveraged on it or anything.
Now, when you say you're building a short position, explain for the people that don't know, what does that mean?
So typically you would take puts, but I'm trading this on decentralized exchanges, perpetual futures, or perps. And I am building out just a single-sided short position with some of the profits that I took off of all of my longs on silver, mainly because we're hitting some extremes for volatility. It can still push further. In fact, as my bands denote, this could still push, past this 103, 83, 104, all the way up to, like 111, 112, just fine. So when I say building out a position, typically most people that are in like crypto markets, like they get excited about like the 5-minute chart and like, oh my God, we're pumping. Oh my God, we're dumping. Right. And
Mhm.
usually that's because they're going to be in and out of trades pretty quickly, or hopefully they will be.
Mhm.
But most don't. They just hold it until they get either until they hit their target or they get absolutely liquidated. But bad traders aside, what I'm doing is I'm building out a wider position. So this is a swing position. So I'm hitting or filling different levels that I want to see get hit. So I want these orders to get filled, and I'm laddering up. So the position starts small, and then as price rises and fills my position out, the position gets larger and larger and larger and chases the entry to like where I am now. I'm at about, I believe, let me actually go look. I'm not going to show this because it's my account, but okay, so I am averaged in right now at 101.74. That is my entry right now. And what I'm doing is I'm building that position out so that it's a larger size for a swing trade on a potential correction coming in the future. Now, I would never advise that people that are listening to me, I don't advise that you trade like this. This is top picking for a local top. That's essentially what I'm doing based off of volatility metrics that I have based off of, your RSIs and your momentum and like all that kind of stuff. But this could very easily blow me out of this position, and that's fine. I have my stop set, and I'll just build higher if it goes higher. But I'm expecting a correction to come soon from the daily. And right now, if silver was to if it was going to put in a high, the only way that it's going to do it right now is really below 90 bucks. Or if it opens and dumps out below the open here at 96.14, but realistically we're not looking into corrective territory until we see it drop like 90 bucks, somewhere around or at least the low 90s, and then we're looking towards 88 to potentially
Why did you
84.
feel like it's going to turn around?
Why? Because BBWP metrics are pretty much pinned, and I
Who?
want to start.
BBW? What'd you say?
It's a big, beautiful, wide Bollinger Bands. So BBWP is Bollinger Band width percentile. So basically, it's the metrics for volatility that I like to use for tracking volatility, and that is here. I'll go ahead and show you this indicator. It's a free indicator. I just have it built into the Landy Bands. Thank you very much for allowing me to pilfer your code.
Mhm.
This is from the caretaker. So as long as my indicator is free, which it always has been, I have it in this box down here for my code.
Mhm.
But it's based on this indicator. So it's very, very high, and it's sitting hot. It can keep up here too, but volatility is very high and momentum is very high, which it can stay up here for an extended period of time. So I'm willing to come out of this position and get stopped out. But I'm looking at multiple vectors for kind of where things are. We've been up here in the very hot range for since October of 2025, kind of end of September into early October. We have been pushing the extremes of volatility for silver. And from the weekly standpoint, I do think that we're in for at minimum a daily correction soon. And I'm just kind of front running a daily correction, and I'm just building it out at some of the levels that I feel comfortable building it out at. And if it goes past it, I'm willing to take the
Landy,
loss on that trade and move to the
I
next one.
feel like you're withholding information. I feel like you're withholding information from me because
Mhm.
I said the same thing, except I said it for different reasons. I didn't say it was because of Bollinger Bands. There's a remonetization
Mhm.
happening. India has talked about it last year, And I think this might have something to do with the fact that there's not enough silver for the paper trading.
Well, okay, so Comex, you can only redeem about 10% redeemable, right?
Really?
And even Shanghai is having trouble with delivery. And then you have the restrictions out of China on refined silver,
Mhm.
right? So, but it's all artificial. This is all artificial restriction of
It's all
silver,
fugazi,
right?
fugazi.
Yeah. In reality, so silver is a useful metal,
Mhm.
right? It's used in
Defense.
everything. Yeah, defense. More widely, what has it been used in? Most prominently, when people talk about silver, what do they talk about? They talk about solar panels,
Mm.
right? And one of the things that you have going on in China right now is involution, right? Where all of these different green energy companies are undercutting each other in a race to the bottom in terms of pricing because of a lot of the tariff narratives and the move away from the Green New Deal initiatives that the United States put out there.
Mhm.
When the United States joined in with the Green New Deal and then Trump said, "Nope." Well, what ended up happening was you had a lot less and even 10 to 20% less order flow in terms of exports is pretty damaging. So what happens to move inventory is they move it locally by undercutting each other within the country,
Mhm.
right? So prices get driven down, which also means that you stop producing as many. And I keep a pretty close eye on the energy sector in China. I keep a pretty close eye on rare earth imports because they don't actually they aren't like the largest mining, rare earth miners, right? They tried to restrict mining, or they tried to restrict exports and rare earth minerals back in the early 2010s, right? And what happened? Well, we just had other areas like the United States backing in South America, and then you had Australia just opened up mines, right? So what ended up happening was they created their own competition through doing that. And right now, what we're seeing is that United States took over Venezuela and is basically blocking all of the Gulf of America, and really tightening down or clamping down on rare earth element exports and doing deals for those rare earth elements, right? And China still is able to import, but they're the refiner. But without imports, that's the danger is if their imports get cut, what are you going to refine?
Mhm.
The other thing is a lot of this is hoarding based on future demand, right? So what we see going on in the commodity sector is a lot of like warehousing or hoarding of these commodities, not because they are because all these manufacturers are fighting to get it. Although this has the bleed over effect of rising prices when they do, um, what ends up happening is they're hoarding for the future. They're forward looking, right? In terms of demand because of the AI sector, because of the robotics sector, because of defense, right? So it's one begets the other, right? It's not necessarily that, hey, we don't have enough supply. It's, hey, we have supply and we don't want to give it up because we're going to need it in the future for
Right.
these things. So, yeah. But I do think that we're due for a correction also next week is FOMC.
Oh,
And if you
FOMC
don't
is next
think,
week?
yeah, next Wednesday,
Oh.
28th. Yep.
Oh.
So I'm beginning to build
Wait,
out a
wait, wait, wait,
position.
wait. Let's go back. What are they talking at about? Are they talking rates?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a rate decision
It's a
next
rate
week.
decision next week? I think
Yeah.
they're gonna hold,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. I don't really care. What I do care about is what he says about the silver trade and the commodities trades,
Mm.
because that's gonna determine whether or not my timing is correct or not.
What may trigger your bullish or bearish side? What could he say that would make you say I'm pessimistic? What could he say that would make you be optimistic?
I don't know. I think if it comes up, it's gonna cause volatility within the market no matter how it's asked or what he says.
Okay.
Right? If
Yeah.
and because he's the cagiest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to speculate on what he's going to say about it. I think that it's going to come up though in conversation that will provide for some
Okay.
volatility. when we're cooking at absolute
Mhm.
extremes, which could potentially set a daily high. I'm not looking for like a crash in the markets or anything like that. I'm just building out for a daily high. Like I built out at the 1888 here at 83.75. I was starting to build here. Why? Because it was between 80 and 85 is where I wanted to build out a short position for a daily
Mhm.
correction. We got that to 70. I took profit. Here I did start with the scalp short to start positioning and getting my position, and then I took enough profit to cover my expenses for that trade.
Mm.
Oh, by the way, I'm in a short position. So in perps markets, it's so long that I'm making money on this short position. So it's averaging my position up passively because I'm making money on this position because it's long pay
Can
short.
I share my screen really
So
fast?
sure, yeah,
Look at
definitely.
this.
You're gonna have to switch over to, I think. There we go.
All right. You see that I just now drew the trend lines. And the trend lines
Yep.
say, yeah, price is getting squeezed. So a decision is gonna have to be made if we go higher or lower.
Yep. Next week.
Yeah. Oh, snap.
Now you know why. And I'm okay with being stopped out, right? Like, and I'll just reposition higher. I'm
But I
fine
mean,
with
it could
that.
go
I
lower though. Like if you're saying you've built out this
yeah.
short position, that could happen as soon as next week.
Well, yeah,
Mm.
that's why I'm glad that it hit over 100 because that's what I was hoping for. You know, I put that in my videos this week as well. I mentioned it this week on Spaces events, and people are telling me I'm an insane person, but what they don't really understand is I have a plan and I'm playing with profits and I'm hedging that portion of that portfolio profit that I've
Right.
taken. And realistically, I'm okay with being wrong because I'll just build higher and for an actual correction if it doesn't happen
Okay.
here. If we get continuation, which closing above the upper second, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get blown out." And it's like, okay, well, we closed above the upper second here on a grind like this. You'll keep closing in the upper second, upper third zone of the
Yeah.
bands, and then you'll get these little
Yeah.
corrections. And that's all I'm looking for to take some good
Mhm.
profits. And then if it corrects wider than that, great. Awesome.
Mhm.
But I'm not actually just trying to pick a macro top or anything.
Right.
This is just how it's most people call this hedging, right?
Okay.
Because I've closed down a lot of my longs on the way up, primarily because of the markets that I'm playing in. It's long pay short, so you just generate a ton of fees the longer you have the trade
Mhm.
open. So it just, I've made so much damn money,
Uh,
dude, on the silver trade because I was taking in options markets, I was taking leaps on silver all back here in 23 through 24.
wow.
I was taking leaps and did the same for gold. I mean, these trades, like it's very popular for people to talk about it when it's at the
Right.
highs. Nobody was talking about it when I was screaming about this shit at the lows.
Yeah.
Like people were talking about like when in 2022 into 23, specifically in 23, when we came out of that bear market bottom for like Bitcoin, for instance, I was buying gold, silver, I was buying leaps on all kinds of shit. Like we were coming out of a bear market. How can you not buy this?
Mhm.
Like it's opportunity
Mhm.
everywhere. And people are only screaming about gold and silver now that it's screaming. And because everybody's speculating on how high it could go. And the louder that noise gets, you know what happens,
What's that?
Hotep? When the noise gets really, really loud and everybody goes, nope, it's going to 150. It's going to be $200. Well, it might get there when you start seeing headlines all over the place about that. And then, everybody then justifying it with the fundamentals and who's doing what, coming up with harebrained conspiracy theories about
Mhm.
it. It's probably a good time to start hedging your
Right.
positions because I've made so much damn money. I might as well just freaking take a hedge against that.
Right.
So, and I hold, I hold some of this, right, in my portfolio, and I also hold some of it physically. I even got rid of some of it physically as we were coming into the I sold like 10% of my portfolio after we broke $50 down here for
Mhm.
silver. We retested an 888 for me, around
Are
45
those
bucks.
fibs?
And Yeah, fibs, log scale fibs.
Mhm.
888 is just
Right.
88.8%. Um, it's a fib. Thank you to a good friend of mine in one of my discords who made me back test it so that he could tell me that I was stupid for not using it, and he was correct. Um, but we found support on it, and then we started moving up towards the 60 to 65 area.
Mhm.
I actually moved 10% of my physical silver at around 65. The main reason why is because I knew that the hotter the narrative would get, the less that you were going to get from some of these firms versus spot, because the discount to spot, like go and try and sell physical silver right now. They're not going to take your coins. They want the bullion,
Mm.
right? They want the melt, right? And they're not going to pay you spot. They're going to pay you under spot. And I knew that there was going to be problems with
Mhm.
that. So I moved like 10% of my physical silver at around 65, I believe was what the actual deal was. And it was right at spot when I did it. So,
Hmm.
and it went significantly higher. That's okay because I had leaps on it. I'm in financial markets and instruments and trusts and all kinds of shit.
Mhm.
So I don't care. I'm willing to let it go. I still got a bunch of my silver. Um, but at some point, this will come back down and come back to earth. And I'm just timing it for next week and based on my setup for the way that
When
I
did you start
trade
your short
this.
position?
When it hit 95, so it would have been
Oh,
Wednesday,
okay, so just this week.
Tuesday into
Okay.
Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday into Wednesday is when I opened
Yeah,
it.
I've
And
been
then
real leery about taking anything on silver at these highs for long term.
oh, it's been easy mode on the long side for sure. It's just that you can't hold it very
Right.
long if you're in perps markets. If you're in options markets, you can. But even then, you're look at the spread.
Mhm.
It's freaking insane. There's no way to, like, the way the options markets are moving, like, you might as well just not even touch it.
Mhm.
At least this
I was just
week.
day trading it
We'll
this
see
week.
what next week is. Oh,
Yeah.
you were? So, I mean, lower term timeframes, it's
Like,
been
what was that dip? Like, what was this dip here? It was like this little mini dip, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday was when I grabbed those. I grabbed calls on
yeah,
Wednesday. I was like, "Oh, it was a nice little dip. It hit support." And I was like, "Let me take that."
yeah. So, I mean, if you're just doing dailies, yeah. And I was waiting on the other side of this because I wanted it to get the nice little W pattern here too.
Mhm.
I was waiting for it to come back down. So I started building essentially 95.5. So that would have been Tuesday into Wednesday right here, right in
Mhm.
here is my average when I started the position. Now I'm sitting at about, I don't know what I just looked at it earlier. It's somewhere above
How are we
100
gonna
bucks.
know when it starts to turn?
Well, this looks like it wants to continue. To be quite honest, to some higher prices on the 4 hour. It's cooking. BBWP is hot. It's not like ready to slow down yet, but it's right around that 103.85, 104 region. I think it could hit 105 easy before a pullback
Mhm.
locally. Um, it's this kind of a move I'm leery of. This kind of move like could continue, right? This march up, sideways and up, this relentless bidding that we had going on the 15
Mhm.
minute. And this is where, typically you see something like this, right? And that's where, even if it goes higher, it typically nukes back down. I mean, when you
Gap it's
see a
gonna gap
march
down?
like
You think it's
that
gonna
without a
gap down? It's
correction,
not gonna be a slow march down?
I mean, it could gap down. It could just, do a slower march down in a corrective fashion. Um, and I think that, it's going to be like people screaming narrative, 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 but realistically, the market needs to come back and hit some bids. This is like, in perps markets, everybody would be like, look, it's a TWAP. It's time weighted average price orders, just walking price up sideways and up. I think this needs at least a local correction, even if it comes back down to test like 101 or even $100. Pretty easily it could head back to 98 on a corrective fashion. And then we'll see what happens from there. But you had silver aside, you had a question about, or not really a question. I know you know what you're talking about here, but you're looking at this weekly. You're looking at this weekly on Bitcoin, aren't you?
I haven't looked at Bitcoin this week, to be honest with you.
No?
Nah, I haven't. It's just trading inside of a gap. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
really looked at it because I don't trade it. And so I look more at the SPY. I haven't looked at Bitcoin since last Saturday. So let's see what's happening in weekly. We got a nice little uptrend. We got a little trend here. We got a little trend up.
Well, well, here's
But some
where
rejection. I
things.
see the rejection in there.
So here's the
Okay.
thing. This is a bear flag,
What
right?
is?
It's a little extended this weekly on
Okay.
Bitcoin. This is a
That's
bear
what that's
flag,
called?
right?
Okay.
Yep. So I mean, people can draw lines however they want, but it's basically a bear flag.
Okay.
You're essentially looking at something like, you know, you're looking at like or a bearish wedge or whatever people want to call it. I don't really care what they would call it, to be honest
Mhm.
with you. But reality is that this is more of a flag formation, right? And what many are going to be talking about, well, many are already going, well, the bear flag's resolved. And it's like, I'd be a little wary of calling it
Mhm.
resolved when it's still trading inside of something like that. I'm not a pattern trader. I don't like patterns. I hate patterns. In fact, I think they mess more traders up than anything else. But this is a valid flag. More importantly, what you'll notice here is that we rejected. Hey, remember what we talked about? $98,000 to the upside. This weekly right
Mhm.
here. Remember we talked about
Mhm.
this. That 98 to 101 was that big overhead resistance right there. We essentially tested that. Spot got to 97,963. That's basically a test to 98.
Mhm.
And this will paint a lower high on the weekly if it closes anywhere below. Anywhere below. So it's a swing lower high anyway, no matter where this weekly closes,
It's some
unless it closes back up by
I'm
98.
looking at it and it's right. It's just dancing on the trend line. Yeah, this is looking scary. Yeah.
So look at here. This now we had this uptrend over here, and now we're looking at the potential for a trend reversal setup, right? So this is where we get the lower low, lower high. This confirms the lower high. That's a trend reversal setup right
Mhm.
there. And then typically we look for a continuation of downtrend, trend reversal to downtrend
Mm.
confirmation. So typically what we're looking for this weekend is if it closes below 90, this will be the lower high. This is also the lower high for the bulls to beat, right? So we knew that a lower high was going to come in because unless we went from lower low down here at the 80 and then took out the higher high, we're looking for lower highs,
Mhm.
right? This would, if we got a lower low as it relates to this uptrend here, then it would be like, oh, okay, well, then we're looking at, this being a deviation if we got closes back above the all-time
Mm.
high. But that was very unlikely. Um, so right now we're probably looking at a trend reversal setup to downtrend continuation, right? So that would be on closes below 80,524 on spot. But there is a nice bit of a low side structure over here,
Mhm.
and then there's high side structure just below it, like tons of
Right.
it. 60, essentially, 68 to 73,
Mhm.
which is right where this low came in. So what I would be aware of is there's two scenarios. Either this is going to get a lower high, even if it confirms. In order to actually break down, we need to see it close below 80,524 on the weekly. It can swing below it, much like what we saw back here, right? So remember, we had the uptrend here, and then we had the trend break, right? We had the big sell off, the big liquidity event back in February of 24
Mhm.
or to February 25, right? And then we had the weekly close and it set the low
Mhm.
here, right? And you'll see that on that close, we had a swing low, right?
Mhm.
So what we had here was we had the downtrend to a lower high, and then we had a lower low swing. And then what did we do? We went right back up into a higher high as it relates to this lower high. Why? Because we did not see a close below this low at 76,555. So one of the things to be aware of is that that's also where this lower second standard deviation is. And everybody got super bearish here. Oh my God, lower high in the weekly. We're going into a bear market. We got expansion below the lower second. We're definitely nuking down into, mid 60s. Well, what ended up happening was we swung the low or swept the low and we got bought back up. We closed inside of the swings with a lower low. So lower high, lower low swing, lower low close, but we closed above 76,555. And then we broke the downtrend by closing the weekly back above, in April, we closed back above the March lower high at 88,800.
Mm-hmm.
Well, beware of this here, because if we do see this resolve to the downside and we start breaking below 80, it's all about the weekly close. 80,500 here. It's all about this close, because if we close above it, like you can swing below it and then come right back up and take out 98, then we could march back to the upside. So that's something to be aware of. That would be a low sweep that kind of goes like this, right? That's your W formation, creates divergences and all that good stuff too. But there's other scenarios for the bulls to avoid continuation. Continuation would just be nuking down lower, right? Get below 76, get below 74, drop that monthly high or low at 74.4, and then it's probably on its way into the mid 60s already. But the other scenario that to watch out for the bulls is a higher low as it relates to this, or equal low. So it could be, for the bears rather, is if it paints a lower high, you'll get a lot of bearish sentiment. So if it does push down lower, we could potentially see it come in and try to go for higher low, equal low structure, right? So whether it comes in equal or whether it comes into a sweep that tries to take out 98. Those are the bullish scenarios. The bearish scenario is the shit's cooked and it just goes down, right? And it breaks down below these two swings over here. And it breaks into this range, these highs over here.
Markel said we got a 2-2 reversal down on the weekly.
What is he talking about?
He's talking about the strat.
In reference to what I'm drawing out. Okay.
Well, on the weekly, like we got a on the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we got a doji. Then we got what we call a 2 to the upside, and then followed by a 2 to the downside, which signals a reversal in the strat.
I mean, look, I'm going to tell you right now that in Bitcoin land, you got to be careful playing the candlestick patterns and play the trend. Bitcoin plays perfectly on the weeklies. And here's,
now,
I'm not saying that he's wrong.
Trend. What do you mean?
Play the trend, right? Because the game is
like identify that that's a bear flag and know that that's what's about to happen.
Well, I know that if it paints a lower high, that your target's to the downside,
okay, I got
right?
You.
And your invalidation of this being a bearish trend would be closing back above that high. Just keep it as simple as possible. And I'm not saying that he's wrong, because you're right. You're both right. But one of the things that you're going to find with Bitcoin is Bitcoin's trapped between high time frame weeklies to the downside, right? Even locally, that's part of this structure over here, right? It's basically part of this structure because you're linked together by the uptrending structure here, specifically this spike high, right? To the actual candle after it, which is the breakout candle. So you've essentially got, and Markel knows his shit. So I know what he's saying, and so do you. But one of the big things that we have to pay attention to is that I can't draw lines and I can't draw lines straight. But But essentially, we're looking at where price is trapped between this structure and this structure, and it's now just playing in this structure, right?
Mhm.
And this is a high time frame consolidation, and this is a high time frame consolidation,
Mhm.
right? Even though my arrow is pointing backwards on that.
Mhm.
This is where Bitcoin can trap here and fake out both sides.
Mm.
And this is where it can deviate and fake out both
Mm.
sides. And that's where, a lot of people are going to get super bearish as if it's going to nuke through this entire structure over here. And I would caution many against that. Um, and wherever this puts in a weekly lower high is going to be significant. Like I've been waiting for many weeks now to talk about this. Wherever Bitcoin puts in the lower high, it's very significant. And if price maintains this
Wherever
tighter
Bitcoin
range,
puts in a lower high, what?
well, because wherever it puts in a lower high, like if it confirms the lower high on the weekly
Yeah.
here, that's significant.
Mm.
Because if it sticks in the range, even if it deviates and goes for a little bit more downside into this
Mhm.
structure, you got to think it's not like prior cycles where there was just massive gaps in liquidity and massive gaps in consolidation
Mhm.
structures. We have a massive consolidation structure right below
Mhm.
us, right? We're talking about from 2024 February all the way until
Mm.
November of 24, right? And then we have a little bit of a consolidation, lower low trend transition to the structure overhead. And realistically, continuation would be breaking down from 74.4,
Mhm.
right? Markel notes that he'll be looking in the mid 70s, kind of right where my lower second standard deviation is for potential longs. Probably likely playing out the fact that it could close back above that 80,000, 80,500. Because if you don't get a close below it, then you just got a sweep of liquidity, and then it could very easily come back up and try for that 98 on the weekly. That's the more bullish setup, is these two lines coming up after a sweep. The other thing to do would see if we get a local, and that's where if we got a local, because structure matters, and this is really where things get interesting. If it gets a local where it puts in the lower high, comes down a little bit, and then just kind of comes back out of it and takes out the lower high immediately with a higher low, that would be like a really bullish
Mhm.
sign. But then it's right into high time frame resistance, likely 99 to 101, probably working its way up to 105, 108 region.
Mhm.
So, and I would venture to say that on higher term timeframes, if this puts in a lower high, that's going to be the narrative. It's going to be everything's bearish, short it all, and tons of short liquidity likely coming in on the perp side, and probably the narrative will start shifting from a lot of people online, where they're already kind of bearish. So I think we have a really interesting setup here. But definitely lower high is in the cards below 90K. That's really the crux of what I'm trying to say. If we close out on Sunday, it's a lower high confirmed. And that is the most significant thing to happen for price action since, we kind of confirm this little candle structure here to set the low.
The
So
daily looks weak, bro.
the daily looks, the daily looks weak, but it's not as bad as you think it is. It's coming off of a lower second standard deviation. When it's really what's actually gonna look weak is if this high here at 91,
Mhm.
91,350 or so, is if we start dropping the closes here at 88,3, 88,4. If we drop that, we're heading to the lows and potentially lower,
Mm.
right? Because this was an uptrend and now we got a trend
Mm.
break. If it sets a low here, it's going to come in on the candle above here, which was 91, 147 or
Mm.
something. That's this wick right
Mhm.
here. But then it's more than likely after a trend break going to put in a lower high, unless it just goes up and takes out $98,000, right?
Mhm.
So biggest thing to pay attention to here is the weekly on Sunday. If it closes above or below 90, and then that's going to be the narrative for next week as well. Does it close above or below 90? Um, because that would be what locks in the lower high. And that's going to be the most significant thing that we've seen happen since the trend break at the highs, because it gives us criteria and very clear criteria. Because if we lock in a lower high and then we close above 98, we break the downtrend, right? We avoid the trend reversal setup, especially if we don't dip any lower than 80,500, or we dip below 80,500 and close below it, thus solidifying the trend reversal setup and looking at lower prices if we haven't already seen them. Also, I'm short.
Okay.
So I hope it goes down further.
All right, let's hop over to SPY. Let's take a look at SPY. Now, I was arguing with Markella about this today, and I said I spotted a head and shoulders on this SPY daily, and he said you can't use the daily. You can't identify head and shoulders in the daily. You got to go to a higher time frame. True or false?
No, I mean that's you can pick out no daily head and shoulders are fine.
They are. Okay.
I mean weekly and higher term time frame is more powerful. No, you get all kinds of patterns, but one of the things that you're going to want to do is not look at SPY. You're going to want to look at futures.
Don't look at
this
SPY,
is not
look
really
at futures.
Yeah, because you're going to have, you had a gap fill. I mean, I'm not really seeing where you have a head and
On the
shoulders,
SPY.
a tilted head
On
and
SPY,
shoulders.
I got it.
Well, it's the same. Can you show me on your screen? So I'm not really looking at a clear head and shoulders here.
See it?
I mean, maybe. Well, then it already played out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's already played out because where's your neckline? Your neckline would have been the lows. So you already hit target. If you were looking at that as it would have been this structure right here. Would have been this structure. Head, shoulders would have been a mini. I don't see a head and shoulders.
No. Where would the neckline go?
Well, for yours, it would have been that low or that common close up there. No.
This one?
Further up.
This?
Nope.
This?
Nope. That. Yeah, because you don't have a clear head and shoulders here. No, because you already had the gap down. That invalidates any kind of a head and shoulders. Yeah, that's not a head and shoulders.
I thought head and shoulders was a bearish.
Yeah, but that's not a head and shoulders though. What you're looking at right there is not head and shoulders. That's a different pattern. It's called. No, you're not. No. You could make look. Patterns are in the eye of the beholder, but I'm going to tell you, there's no head and shoulders there. But patterns are often whatever you make them, like trend lines. Like I can make a trend line fit whatever the fuck I want it to fit. I can make patterns fit whatever the fuck I want them to fit. Excuse my language, audience. Sorry. But reality is, they're mostly meaningless. And what you're going to find is that you have all these technical books that show you the patterns and stuff. But if you actually do any back testing on patterns, they're very low hit rate, very, very low hit rate. Now, granted, patterns, what are they showing you? They're just showing you a variation of the trend, right? Higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. And then you get like different patterns. Like you get a higher high, higher low, higher high, equal low, lower high, right? Then you have the formation that I just said would be a head and shoulders. But what is it telling you? All it's telling you is like, all right, so if I have a head and shoulders pattern, like if I see this, right, and a higher high, right, and then we come down, we got an equal low, and then we go into a lower high. What do you see? What do you see forming here? Well, this could potentially turn into a head and shoulders, right? Where's your neckline? Your neckline is going to be the common lows, right? And then because you've got a higher high, higher low, higher high, equal low, or slightly higher low, can be whatever the hell you want it to be. But what is this really telling you about trend? If you get a lower high, this is a trend reversal setup, right? And all that it is if this is your typical head and shoulders, right? And then you get the inverted head and shoulders as well. But all this portion of that pattern is showing you is that this is a lower high. That's the only part of the pattern that matters outside of the equal lows, right? Because then you have the equal lows. This is just telling you that if you get a lower high, that's your trend reversal setup. This is your confirmation is on closes below the equal lows. And then you can do measured moves, typically because you're compressing at the highs now. This is a
So when would you take
consolidation
the
at this
trade?
point.
When it crosses the neckline?
Well, I take the lower high. No. I take lower high. Man, I front run shit. I'm in lower term time frames. I'd be taking the lower high confirmation back to the neckline where I'd take my first take profit. I mean, it just depends on whatever time frame I'm seeing it.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like if I'm seeing this form in relation to the daily, then sure. Right? Like maybe you could make an argument that you got a shoulder ahead and then this was a shoulder, but this was not really, this is garbage up here. This is just a consolidation at the highs. Like if you're looking at this as a shoulder and this as a head and this is a forming shoulder, where's your neckline? Well, then you've got a tilted head and shoulders, a double head, and it's like you can make whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, a classical head and shoulder is going to be your lower high. You take out the lows, and then you break out your favorite trend lines or whatever you want. And you go, okay, well, we're going to be looking at the measured move from the head to down here from the lows, and then we're going to be looking down here, right? And what you're looking for is this breakdown to play out.
Yeah, I would take the trade when it breaks that line.
You want to know what happens more often than not with patterns, especially if you're purely playing the pattern and you're not using other confirmations. You'll get something like this, where it'll come down, make a lower low, and then just come right back up.
Yeah.
And look at what we've been doing. Been doing. Everybody was going head and shoulders here. So here was your shoulder, here's your head. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And when it got down here, guess what everybody did at the lows? They all went short. What happened?
Right,
you got a throwback right to the shoulder and then to the head and then to a new high. And now you're getting a retest. So I don't like patterns. I hate patterns. Patterns suck. They have a low hit rate. Just watch trend. Trend is all that matters. If you see a trend reversal setup, you play the trend reversal, right? So I'd play the lower high. That's what I played, right? Why did I play the higher high on Bitcoin, right? Why did I go short at 98 and then 96, right? Because like for Bitcoin, I'll go back and show you, like there's different strategies. Like if I see a lower high, I'm probably going to take that short, depending on the setup, right? But I got this question earlier this week is why did you take shorts out up here? Well, because we went up to resistance at a major weekly level, right? We're just overhead. I was willing to build out shorts even higher. And then over the weekend, we went sideways and couldn't get back above 96. So I started building out a short position there. Even if it was going to correct just back to test, some of these areas down here, but it ended up losing and heading down lower. But that's because we just had resistance. Everybody was bullish for higher prices. I was going short. Now, when this comes back up for Bitcoin, like on the daily, if it comes back up here and it starts to paint a lower high because we just had a trend change, I'm going to go short. If it paints a lower high up here, right? I'm going to go short again. Right? So I'm already short. I've taken profit on the way down. It's still open just in case this heads down. I'll close it if it starts breaking above like 92, 94. If it starts breaking above like 92, I'm gonna close the rest of it down. But if it comes back up and starts painting a lower high, well, we just had a trend break. So lower high, I'll take that all day. Let's go. And then I'll play it back lower. Whether it goes into a higher low, equal low, I don't give a shit. That's just part of the trade. I'll determine when I want to close it.
All right, let's go back to SPY futures.
SPY futures. So you want to go futures? ES1?
Yeah.
Okay.
What does this chart tell you?
Chart tells me it's looking like
wait. Actually, let's reverse this. I'm gonna tell you what I think it says.
What do you think?
And then you could tell me.
Sure.
So based upon what you just said, I see a lower high.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's right there.
On the
on
daily,
a daily.
it ain't closed. That's just a swing, brother.
What?
This high right here,
Yeah.
this isn't a high yet. That's a
Oh,
daily
that's
high.
right. Futures don't close yet.
No, they're
Oh, they are
closed.
closed. So why are you saying it's not? What do you
Yeah.
mean? I'm lost now.
Okay. These are 2 daily highs.
Yes.
Is that bearish? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it's a lower
But
high compared to the previous trend.
we haven't set the high yet.
What do you mean we haven't set the high?
You need a reversal to set a high.
What?
You need a reversal to set a high.
What's the reversal?
You need to close. Okay, so when this opens back up, in order to set this high to be a lower high, we need to close below 692 or 6,926.
But we went inside.
Doesn't matter.
You're saying
We went inside over here. We went inside over here.
But you're saying
Look, this would have been a lower high. We went inside on these bars too. Over here. And what did it do? It kept going. Because it didn't actually set the high. Right? It didn't close below the low. Right here. Didn't close below the low. This isn't even a red candle. We need to see what the next daily is to call this a high.
So if the next daily closes lower than that high, that's what you're calling a reversal?
Then this low. No. If the next daily closes lower than the previous day's low here,
lower
then
low.
this high is solidified. Yeah.
Then
So
that high
if we close below, yes, then this high right here will be set. That will be a lower high. Yeah. But like that's the danger over here. Like people were going after the first red candle over here. Off of, back in November.
Yeah.
Into December, everybody was going lower high, lower high, lower high because we got a bearish candle.
Yeah.
Right? But the bearish candle didn't close below the low of the prior daily. And what did we have? Another inside bar. Everybody's like lower high, lower high, lower high. And then we closed above it. And then we wicked above it and made a higher high right here.
But
well,
it did. But that one did close. It did close below the previous day.
No, it didn't.
Oh, no, it's a little wick there. You're right. It's still inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
It closed inside.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you're looking at the close of the candle. Okay.
Yep.
You're not counting the wick.
It didn't close below. It swung below.
Oh, yeah, you're looking for the close below. Okay.
This would have been a lower high if it closed below. Yeah. And then we had a bunch of inside bars and kept going higher, higher. And then we made a higher high swing. We got the correction here and then went even higher. And then we got a wider correction down into higher low structure technically. For candle closes.
So how much do you care about like outside candles, inside candles? How much do you care about that stuff?
I do not give a flying fuck. Yo, you could close it anywhere.
Really?
Like, oh man, that's an evening star reversal. That's a morning star. That's an inverted herpendicular. I don't give a flying fuck, brother. It's all about trend. And where does it close? Where does it close? Where does it close?
Wow.
Look, I don't care about your three soldiers candles. I don't care about your Paddington Bear reversal pad. I don't give a shit, bro. They do not matter. When I used to make markets, I made fun of the guys at the desk that were just gotten out of TA like pattern classes, and I'd be like, look, you need to know what the candles are, right? Because that's telling you how the auction went. But if you're just focusing on that, I'm gonna eat your whole portfolio for lunch because I'm the guy on the other side making the market and putting the market up to actually provide liquidity to these tickers for our clients, right? So, and of course we can go make whatever freaking market we want if we want to sell covered calls or do whatever. Like, look, the whole point was at the time is like this means if you're paying close attention to that candle structure on the daily, you have to understand what the underlying trend is on those lower term timeframes. When you get a doji candle or an inside bar on the daily, it doesn't really matter. If you're getting up into higher term timeframes, yes, it matters. All right.
Like
so
starting at the
weekly.
You would say it would start to make sense if it was on the weekly. Okay.
Yeah.
But
so
on the
like
daily doesn't mean shit.
Look where this opened, bro.
You're on the weekly
This
now?
candle opened like basically at the low. Yeah, I'm on the weekly.
Okay.
Right.
It
So this
opened
is mini
it
futures.
opened at the low, right? I see that.
Yeah, open at the low of the prior
Yeah.
weekly. For me, I would have liked to see it close below, for this to be a high 69.13 because that was I want a 3 candle structure. This came all the way down, mean reverted to the basis
Mhm.
band. And what we ended up getting was a close back above the swing low here
Mm.
of the prior candle,
Mm.
right? That matters to me. Because it's about, okay, we tested all the way down for liquidity and then came back and recovered the prior week's low.
Mm.
That's important to me. Why is that important to me? Because what is that telling me? On the daily, if we can recover higher, especially towards the basis band here on the weekly, where we have that low, let's just actually mark this low,
Mm.
right? Because this is where things get interesting, right? If we mark this low here
Mhm.
at 69.23.
Mhm.
If we come in here, we can see that look at what we're using as support right here for this doji. We got below it, right? We came back and tested above it. We opened below it, gapped up a little bit, retested,
Mhm.
and then we closed above it. We came back to it and we tested it. Now we're being governed by the overhead candles here. These overhead auction, where the auction was overhead,
Mhm.
right? So if this can recover anywhere above this high right here, because it hasn't set the high yet, if it can recover above 69.69, nice. Anyway, if it can cover above 69.69 or 696,
Mhm.
this thing's going for 690, 69.95, 7,000
Mm.
easy.
Mhm.
And then it's above there, then it's right back at the highs. But if it drops that weekly right there, which is what the criteria is going to be when this opens again, if it
Mm.
closes below there, well, then we can start entertaining, coming back down to this wick low by the lower second. By the way, they're perfectly in line with each other at 680, 68.86, and then the low again, maybe even lower if it drops it, right?
Mm.
But right now, this is a range. And on the weekly, we dipped and grabbed liquidity from that basis band.
Yeah.
The bigger thing that we got to pay attention to is if we start really forming a top here. So
Mhm.
if this ends up not being able to push the highs again,
Mhm.
and this becomes the 3 candle structure high,
Mhm.
well, then next week we'd be looking for this to come lower. But that weekly, bears, you might be getting a little nervous about that weekly buyback. I would be rightfully not comfortable
Now,
if you aren't in a
we
position.
do have to take into consideration that was a Davos pump.
No,
Oh, come
brother,
on,
nobody gives a
Landy.
shit about
It was
Davos.
a Greenland tariff dump, and it
No, it wasn't.
what?
No, it was not. Not even close. This had everything to do. Look, that's the narrative, but that's not why.
Wow.
You want to know
Why?
why? So, did you see what happened in the Japanese bond markets on Monday and
It
Tuesday?
went up.
Remember, Monday was MLK
Right.
Day. Okay, so let's go look at the Japanese bond market. And let's make some notes here. All right.
Mhm.
So let's see what days we got here, right?
Mhm.
So we've got a Friday into a
Mhm.
Monday or into a Tuesday. So Friday into
Mhm.
Tuesday is when we gapped down and then we recovered after
Mhm.
Tuesday. So I'm going to show you this had nothing to do the Greenland narrative. Why would anybody be dumping markets over a 10% tariff when it ain't gonna freaking matter? Because it wasn't going to be implemented until the 1st.
Uh-huh.
Also, it has no impact on liquidity. People aren't scrambling to go, oh my God, 10% tariff. We're never going to order and import. No, there's real business that happens underneath of all of this shit. So here you go. 20th is a Tuesday. Let's go take a look at what was going on in Japan, my
Okay.
friend. So we're going to go to the Japanese 10-year. Oh, dear Lord. Lordy, lordy, lordy. What did we get on Monday when we were closed? A big old move up in the 10-year.
Yeah.
Another big move up in the 10-year into Tuesday. That just happened to coincide with the actual markets dumping off in the United States when they opened on Tuesday,
Okay.
right? So what's interesting about that is it subsided on Wednesday. And look at what happened on Wednesday right here. So we got 20th and 21st. Happy 1-year anniversary, President Trump.
Mhm.
You're the GOAT. And people can at me about that. And I will gladly argue with everyone. But you notice what happened from there is it corrected. When this, just so you know, this is a big move up in the 10-year. And realistically, what did everybody say at the time? Oh my God, Japanese economy is going to collapse. Oh my God, we got an 8% move. Oh my God, Japan is so cooked. No, they're not. They're not. They're going to be fine. But reality is that this caused a shakeup in global markets, especially in the U.S. markets, because when we go back to our ES,
Why would that cause a
our
shakeup in
ES1 chart,
our markets?
brother, when you have an auction that has weak demand like that, that shows investors losing confidence. What changed that? What changed that was,
Oh, you're right. Yeah, when you
in
rush into
Japan is
bonds,
key.
you have weak confidence. You're right.
Because when you see that yield going up, that means that we did not have good demand. And what happened on Monday for the Japanese markets was they had low demand. Why? Because many were speculating that they could do another rate increase this week, which they chose to hold rates in Japan. So the speculation was that if they're going to increase rates, why would we bid this time if literally in a few days we're going to see an increase in rates?
Right.
So what ended up happening was there was weak demand at the auction, and then the market rate spiked, right? So the yields keep climbing
Right.
to
Attract
attract
investors, yeah.
investment. And then finally I think even the prime minister or someone came out, and then Bank of Japan came out and were like, we're probably going to hold. And then the markets calmed down. Our markets recovered. Global markets went down at the time. You can even look at and we're looking at Monday. Look at what happened in Chinese markets. Monday into Tuesday, boom, boom. And then Wednesday, relief. And even gap up, sell off, gap up, sell off. But when you're looking at the Hang Seng, even the Hang Seng was affected, just like US markets and everything else, just that we were closed. So we got it all done in one day with a big old gap down. Yeah, well, it doesn't necessarily mean. Remember, Markel, Dixie is against a basket of currencies, but yes, you are correct that JPY up substantially, and that's that I would call that a large move up on the daily, and that was on the Friday candle. So look, there's some financial engineering going on in
What the hell is
Japan
that
right
hot
now.
dog
Just so
right
you know.
there? That big old lightsaber.
This is the Japanese yen versus US dollar.
Wow.
You want to talk
What
about
the hell?
Forex traders getting absolutely cooked on the JPY?
What? Is that on the daily? Oh,
Yeah.
somebody got cooked.
Yo, they got absolutely cooked, brother. It was so cool. I'm sorry. I mean, it was terrible to watch. Hate seeing that. But also, this was telling you off of this low that this was very likely. Here's an even funnier thing. Like, this is why there was traders that got out ahead of this, by the way. This was very clearly setting up for a whole bunch of bullish divergences if it just set a higher low. And boy, did it do it. It set a higher low in some kind of fashion right there. So this is again, this is why I say, like, trend is your friend. And when you see a trend reversal setup, so we got this downtrend, right? It tried to set a higher low here, and then it set a lower high, and then a lower low, and then a lower high. And then, there was the opportunity. It could have come down further. And, but as long as it doesn't close below the low here, then you're looking for a higher low trend reversal setup that takes out this high. And that's your criteria right there. and now we have a trend reversal to trend break. And likely, if this can hold up above this higher low, it's going to be a nice little uptrend.
Mm,
I'm not trading Forex right now. But yeah, so that coincided with Dixie taking a giant poo on itself.
right.
But also you had, the pound up, you had the euro up. So I mean, what we had is a rotation out of the US dollar.
Mhm.
Um, so essentially it's what we
So
saw
what's
as
the
a rotate
predictions for
out of
SPY? What are we expecting for SPY?
next week's going to be very interesting because of the FOMC meeting. So my prediction, I don't necessarily have a prediction for you, but what I will say is that above 686 on SPY, and then we need to just keep an eye on the highs. So above 691 for SPY specifically, 691.13. We're going to run 694, 695 up here by the upper first, and then 696 to 700s in play. But if we drop the if we drop this low on the daily around 686, I'd be looking for either a sweep around 685. If it can't hold it, then we're probably headed down to 680.
Wait,
So
say that last part
I
again.
always have two scenarios. If we drop 686, I'd look for a sweep of 685. If 685 doesn't hold and we start closing below it, we're going to probably drop down to 680. Probably pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And maybe more.
I
Maybe
agree
more.
with that.
But if we get above 691, we're going 694 to 695, maybe even for the highs at 696 and higher to like
You
700.
think we could break an all-time high?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt. If we start trading above 695, we're probably going for 696 at the all-time high, and then above there I'm looking around 698, 700 in the near term, and then up to 705. But we got to hold 685 to the downside on closes. Right. If we lose that, then we're headed 680 and potentially more.
I got 690. With the break point being 685.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, 685. I got the same level. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where things change, because then it's running the low side and it's a major area at 680. If it drops it, we're looking, mid 670s down to 670 pretty quickly thereafter if we break down below 680, because that'd be expansion. So you can see my lower second standard deviations right at 680.
Mm-hmm.
If we drop it, we can deviate down to like 670, the mid 670s. But if we get anywhere below there, 675, we're going to get expansion down to 670, maybe even the mid 660s.
Yeah, I got 675. I got break point. Next break point after that will be 675.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it really is, I think, going to depend on monetary policy.
Yeah, depends on what Jerome Powell says.
Yeah, and like let me look and let me share my tab. This is going to blind everybody, so prepare yourselves, because the Forex Factory site is whiter than I am. I say that as I'm like a tiny puppet.
A tiny brown puppet.
Yep. Oh shit. Is this cultural appropriation?
That's
what
definitely,
am I doing here?
You're getting close to racism there, Landy. Back away.
It is kind of racist, isn't it? Because this is terrible, because I am so white that I was drinking milk and you couldn't see where the carton actually was when I was holding it. So
what are you looking for on this site? What is this? What are you? Is that the Fed site?
No, this is Forex Factory. Oh, okay. So you can get an economic calendar here.
Oh,
so
that's where you get yours.
I'm just looking because I like it just because it's easy.
What's that website?
Nice and laid out. I mean, it's called Forex Factory, and just click on calendar up top. And then I'm just on the next week. So it'll bring you to the current week ending the 23rd.
Oh, wow. This gives you everything.
Yeah.
International too.
So next week, what I'm looking at is Monday. I mean, durable goods, and it's not really that anything too interesting there. It's really all about Wednesday because we do have a few things here and there like ADP. Some people are going to make a big deal. I don't care. We have a good handle on the numbers already coming in towards the end of the month.
Mhm.
It's really the bigger event is going to be Wednesday for the federal funds rate. The
Mm.
expectation is to hold,
Yeah.
um, which is why I think it's. I don't. I mean, if they cut, they cut.
Right.
Great. But if they hold, it's all about what they say
Right.
in the press conference
Forecast.
and yeah, and what their forecast is and what they've put out in the statement. That's what
Yeah.
matters. I would keep an eye on crude oil inventories, but it's week to week, and who knows when the Venezuelan oil is going to hit.
And they always do these FOMC meetings right when my show starts. So I'm not even gonna. I have to go straight into my money show at open on Wednesday.
Why don't you just? Why don't you monitor? Can you just stream
No,
it?
I'm gonna stream it. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna stream it.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, because when he goes at 11:30 on Wednesday, you're going to be live then.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So like I'll be like
Okay,
covering
'cause
news
this
and I'm just gonna just switch straight to that and watch the
yeah,
charts at
'cause
the same time.
well, this is set up for Pacific Standard Time.
Right. Well,
So
mine
this
is
will
in
be
my time
yeah,
zone. Yeah.
okay. Good. All right, so well, I know where I'm gonna go and
Yeah,
watch,
it's gonna be a
the
party,
FOMC
man. I
meeting.
got the sharks over there. Yeah, it's gonna be a party, man. We're gonna be right there, front and center, waiting for that to pop off, man. That's gonna be crazy day. I'm probably gonna get rid of all my contracts just in case. I'm gonna close out my contract so I don't, run into anything, and then get ready to press the button on something. Like find some good setups right before, and then maybe press the
Mhm.
button on something that has a good setup, depending on which way it goes. So I'll make like a put list and I'll make a call list. And if the market goes put, I'll try to find, the stocks that got the put setups and then go into those.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's smart.
Yeah.
So, I think that realistically, obviously, we're gonna have unemployment claims for the week.
When is that?
That's always something to watch. So, Wednesday, we've got
Mhm.
FOMC, rate decision, obviously, statements, and realistically, a lot are gonna
Oh,
be listening
unemployment.
to what he talks
Where's
about.
unemployment claims, 8:30 AM
Unemployment
pre-market.
claim yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be on,
How impactful is
Thursday.
that?
Um, it's really only gonna be impactful if the number is, like, way out of
Yeah.
whack, right? Because this is initial
Mhm.
claims. Um, I don't know because initial claims is not, UR or unemployment rate.
Mhm.
If it comes in under, great. If it comes in way over, that's a problem.
Mm.
Um, and then Friday, is gonna be the US core PPI, right?
Mhm.
So this is where we're looking at, um, producer price index is gonna be core PPI and PPI month over month, but core PPI, we're gonna be looking at, the forecast, of the 0.2%, I
Friday.
believe, or 0.3%, is the forecast right
Mm.
now after coming in flat last month.
Mm.
So this is gonna be probably, this is your, producer price
Yeah.
index, your producer price index, and I would pay close attention to, um, the trade deficit as it continues to come out, and that's gonna be next month. Obviously, we already had those numbers for this month.
Mm.
So, as because we're gonna start catching up, from some of the numbers that we missed, right? So when we look at, latest, release for BLS, they note that, when this was it was looking back, so, like, December was looking back to November, but
Mhm.
then we had the missing data from when the
Shut
government was
down,
shut
yeah.
down,
And then the
and
30th,
then
the government's supposed to be shutting down, or
we're gonna remain open, but, like, they just
they
passed
just passed a
something. They
bill.
just
Yeah, they
passed
just passed like a budget bill, right? So does that
yeah, so
clear us
we're gonna
to
stay
not
open.
close? Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
sure
and
if
they
that was
passed a whole
related
bunch
or
of
not.
Bro, they passed a whole bunch of
A lot
bullshit
of
that
spending.
it's just nonsense. It's a lot of nonsense. You know, all those Republicans that railed against all the DEI and all the woke agenda shit literally just rubber stamped it. They're like, yeah, let's go, bro. Cheerio, see you on the golf course.
Yeah.
Like fucking hell, these freaking
Yeah.
guys. It's just they all need to be, every single one of the representatives
All
needs
right,
to be
last
just
question before we get
kicked
out of
out.
here. Greenland.
Yeah,
Um,
Greenland
how bad do we need it?
badly.
I agree with you, yo.
Well, it sounds like they've got a deal for not just Greenland, but the whole Arctic
Region.
territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, or region, yeah. And that's really good. You know, we'll see what that looks like. The problem is what a lot of people don't really understand about Greenland. One, outside of the Danish making them all sterilized there for a long
Mhm.
time. Or the fact that they only got their own government representation in 2019, I
Mhm.
believe, or the fact that they're just allowing the Chinese and Russians to do whatever the hell they want because Greenland has the army the size of an ant. Um, like, like here we are talking about directed energy weapons and lasers and
Sound
stuff, and we're
weapons.
like, hey, better get a blue roof. And meanwhile, they're like, well, we found an Eskimo up here and we gave him a gun. Like, look, the fact of the matter is we had no real vested interest, and we're leasing to even have a presence there.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't support, one, none of the natural resources there are right. So let us at least leverage
Yeah.
them, even if we have like some sort of joint cooperation agreement where we share, we send our companies in and we give you a cut, bro. Like, come
Yeah.
on, like let us do that. But also, if we wanted to expand any of our missile defense systems there, we don't have a vested interest in this. Like and what if we now have other types of conflicts in which you want to tie us up in politics, where if we're using those defense systems for something like nation state defense, and now you're going to try and come after us internationally because we were in the wrong area to actually be doing that because our land lease area was not in this, like, you know what? Fuck off. Give us part of Greenland. You ain't doing shit with it. How have you helped the people there? You literally sterilized them, you fucks. Like, fuck off. Let us help them. Let us make them rich. Build that damn golden dome. We know that the Arctic Ocean is going to be opening up for transit. And we have a seaway to protect. You're going to give that to China and Russia? Wait, I thought you wanted to fight them in Ukraine, you putzes. Oh no, you just wanted to use our money to fight them in Ukraine. Oh, that's right. How about we just pull out of NATO and you guys go fuck yourselves over there? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, no.
So
Next,
Landy's
you're next,
he's all
Canada.
in for colonizing Greenland. I
Oh,
think
fuck yeah. I am a colonizer. I am white as snow,
look, I
bro.
I'm
I want to go up to
I
Canada
want
too.
Canada because
Yeah,
they're
give us Canada.
bullshitting. They talking about they want to do a deal with China now. I'm like,
They're subservient to the crown, bro. You
yeah,
know that.
they are.
They Most people here in the United States thinks that Canada calls the shot. No, they don't. They don't call shots for. Why do you think Canadians are so pissed and want independence? They want independence from what? The crown. The
Yeah.
crown. That's what they want independence from. And the fact of the matter is Canada is the vector by which the British Empire set up a check on the entire
Yep.
American system and infiltrated us through
Yep.
money
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
banking. Because what is it? It's between New York and
Mhm.
London. And if people don't know that, what they don't even understand is that realistically, when Trump is talking about China and Russia, he doesn't really care about China and Russia. He cares about our own allies that have been fucking us over for years and years, and actually have been sowing division in our country and allowing China to do it. And even helping China and other countries infiltrate the United States education system, banking system. They knew about what was going on in Venezuela, and they still funded some of the same ships that were ended up as part of the Russian
Yeah.
Ghost Fleet. Meanwhile, they're fighting a war in Ukraine against
Mm.
Russia. These people are fucking
Mm.
idiots. And it's not, you know what is funny is they're not actually idiots. This is all on purpose. If they were idiots, they wouldn't have been able to pull the
You
wool over
said it,
people's
not
eyes for
me.
so long.
You said it, not me. Like the whole Greenland thing, right? Somebody asked me, like,
Yeah.
yeah, Greenland, what do you think about that? I'm like, first of all, this concept of us having a military invasion of Greenland is not realistic. We are on the same page as the British Crown, and it's kayfabe, it's all theater, and we're gonna get what we want out
Mhm.
of Greenland because it's in the best interest for the Western Empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And guess what? What the rest of the world, specifically our allies, are waking up to is that when you allow the country that you've been trying to control for the past 250 years, and by the way, if anybody thinks that they haven't been trying to control us and they want us to be independent, learn some
Mm.
history. We fought more wars than the Revolutionary War against the
Mm.
British. Right. And also, if you look at all the EU nations, look at how many of them are still monarchies.
Mm.
And then for the ones that aren't monarchies, how about you go look at the family history and draw the correlations and connections to those that are
Uh-oh.
monarchies still?
I was just tweeting about that.
Uh-oh,
I just did a lecture on that today, Landy.
brother. You know what's funny about this is all they did was name it the EU when it's just a bunch of old school kings and queens, a bunch of cousin fuckers and a bunch of like intermingled families and shit. Look at they're all cousins of somebody up there. And guess what? They've been trying to get the United States to do something for them for a long time. So if you can't actually call it, if you can't control it, you infect the money supply, you embolden the enemies
Mm.
of the nation of the United States. Meanwhile, you exercise their resources and you utilize their resources through NATO. You create all these pilot wars and you have them send the money over. You have them send the military over. Well, guess what? We got the biggest stick in the
Mm.
room. And we now have a guy who says, you know what? We have the military. And you guys wanted to use us as the bludgeon around the world. But you thought you could do it through the money side. And how about I just slam my dick on the table and say, fuck you. I'll just use the military against you if I want to. What are you going to do about it? Let me go in and pluck a dictator out of his bed in the middle of the night. Let me show you what I'm capable of. Do you want this to be you? Because this could be you.
All right, Landy. All right, that's enough, Landy. That's enough, man. That's enough.
Sorry.
That's enough. Just
My bad.
so
Somebody
we got
clip
it.
that shit.
We can't let them see all of this, Landy. You know what I'm saying? We got to save some of this for next week.
Yeah,
We got
brother.
Landy going full European colonizer on tonight's episode. Clip it. Clip it.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, man. Enjoy your weekend. You know what, Landy? I got to be honest with you. I have a problem now. It's a problem, but it's a good problem. I was talking about this before. I'm going to be writing a bunch of emails this weekend. And I was like, yo, I realized that the key to life is having something to be excited about waking up to. And I was never excited about waking up until I got into trading. And now I'm like, then it's turned into something toxic, right? Because now I'm going to bed and I'm dreaming about the stocks. Like I can see charts in my sleep.
Welcome to my world, brother. Yo, I shit you not real quick. I literally had a dream last week where I woke up, I went and I started up all of my computer, all my screens come lighting up, and I open up my portfolio and that shit is zero, bro. And I'm like,
Yo,
what the
word.
hell happened?
Yo, word. Yo,
I
like
freaked out. So
dog.
now in my dream, bro, I'm freaking out. So now I'm checking, like, no, there's no way. I had no open orders. All I had was sell order. How can oh my God. And then I looked and the entirety of all markets were just plummeting, just
Yeah.
candle after candle, like basically SPY going to zero or something, right? Like
Yeah.
And
That's
then
what
I
I've
woke up
had those. Yeah,
sweating, bro.
I've had like one of my dreams was like I woke up and the stock was up, but the sell button wasn't working. Like it was like, no, can't sell. And I'm like, sell. I'm up 10,000% sell, and it won't sell. And then I wake up out the dream like,
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, man.
my money, my money.
Yo, Hotep, welcome. I need to get you a
Oh,
Bitcoin crown. It doesn't matter if you're trading SPY or not. I need to get you a Bitcoin crown because welcome to the club, brother. Because now
dog. It's
that's
bad because now on the weekends I'm moping around the house like, man, the market's not open. Then it's a holiday. I'm like, fuck the holiday. Open the fucking markets. Ring the bell. Let's go.
yo.
It's
I freaking love it.
addicting, bro. I feel like I might have to go into rehab after this, yo. I might have to go into stock trading rehab.
Oh
This shit is
man.
too much fucking fun.
But you're out here hanging out with Markel and Blood and who else? Who else?
Yeah. We got
Renee.
we got the trade desk. We got a lot of people trading in Hotepistan. So when markets open, the telegram is, you know what I mean? There's messages popping in the telegram and we going back and forth like, yo, I see this, I see that, I'm in this, I just made that. So, and then I'm in a whole nother Discord, you know. So it's just surrounding my life and I fucking love it. It gives me purpose. And I'm
It's
like, now I'm happy to be alive.
it's the best. See, now if you want to feel something on the weekends, you can just look at all the shit coins that trade 24/7 and be like, you know what? I could probably short that.
You can short the shit coins? Oh wait, you mean like Monero and all those guys?
Hey, any of them. Yeah.
So perps.
Pick a shit coin. Perps. Yeah.
So how do perps work? Is that like all cash?
Well, yo, chat, I should probably not do this, huh? All right, so you could go to any one of these centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges, and you can transfer in some USDT or USDC, and you can short or long any of them. And
But will I owe more than like in options? Whatever I put in, that's what I lose. I don't want to put some shit in and it's like, yeah, you owe us 10,000 extra.
then do isolated
What's
leverage. Yeah,
so
isolated
that's not
leverage.
perps?
That is perps.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is perps, but it's just called isolated.
Yeah, don't do margin. Don't do
No, I'm
cross
not doing
margin.
margin. No,
No
I'm not
cross
doing
margin.
No cross
No.
margin. Just do isolated.
Yeah. David says Landy's worried Monero's going to flip Bitcoin.
Monero's
Yeah.
been going crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Monero's been doing well lately.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm concerned about it flipping Bitcoin. I hold a lot of Monero actually. But yeah, I mean, look, if you want to trade perps, it's a different game.
Why?
Because it's not set up like options, right? So
Right.
you're buying longer short contracts, right? And
Okay.
then you just want to you probably want to start low leverage and just trade the you're already doing like a version of it with options, right? So you're
Yeah.
just in and out kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can go long or short like you normally do.
Yeah.
It's just that you want to do isolated, no cross margin.
Okay.
And if you turn up the leverage, obviously you're going to be using margin, but you're just risking the underlying that you're putting in.
Oh,
So
I got you.
if you put $100 and you take it to 10x, then you're playing with $1,000, but you lose that position, you lose $100, you don't lose your whole account.
I got you.
So,
and what website is that?
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Really?
I trade on Hyperliquid. I trade on Ostium.
Okay, I know.
Those are perp dexes, right? Hyperliquid's a perp dex. Ostium's a perp dex. I trade on centralized exchanges. Many of them.
Exchanges like what? Like Coinbase offers perps?
They do, but they're not. I forget which account you need minimum for perps over there.
Okay.
But I wouldn't. I'm
not doing that.
Yeah, it's Coinbase, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm still. I can't say because I'm a U.S. citizen where I trade, but you can figure out what I trade at, or maybe I'll hit you up.
Yeah, hit me up in the channels, the back channels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the money honeys. We got chicks that out trade the fellas, yo. Shout out to the money honeys. You know what I'm saying? We got chicks we got the chicks trading options and they making the fellas look like bitches. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody in the chat uses Blowfin. I can get you I can get you. Blowfin is actually pretty good. Blowfin's actually a lot of traders. It's a pretty good one. But I mean, like there's a bunch of them, but you just got to be careful. They're centralized exchanges. I like perp dexes too, but they're more expensive.
What, like
you're paying? Yeah, because you're paying chain fees as well,
right?
Because it's a dex. So, but centralized exchanges typically you're still paying fees, but they're going to be lower,
right?
In many cases than a perp dex.
Right.
Obviously keep an eye on funding and make sure that the pair that you're trading has liquidity. That's the thing. So those are the only things that you got to pay attention to, really.
No.
Otherwise, you just trade it like you would anything else. You go long, you go short.
Because I'm looking at the Bitcoin and I'm like, y'all, this is where it's gonna go. Then it goes there, and I'm like, I should be making money off of this, knowing that I know how to trade Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, then you can go long or short. Just
yeah.
It's just a matter of positioning and learning that exchange and how it works for their way they do orders.
Okay.
Right? That's all. And then you could always paper trade on the exchanges, like Blowfin has paper trading, just so that you can get a feel for how their exchange works.
Right.
There's other ones. I know that I don't think Gemini doesn't have perps, does it? It's all spot. Does Gemini have perps? David Gockstein in the audience?
I'm pretty sure those are all Blowfin. Oh, I'm on Blowfin now. Okay. Let me go.
I think they got perps.
It's all spot, right?
They got spot and perps. They're perps platform.
Okay. How many trades does Landy hold in his portfolio at a time? That's a good question.
Shit. Which markets?
It's big boy talk, Markel. This is Landy's different, man.
I have well, because like I take leaps in traditional markets, so like I don't really close them down. I probably have like 40 open trades right now. It's just whether they're options trades, bracket trades. Some of them I have like butterflies or
Landy, I need a small loan of $1 million, man. He said I got like 40 trades open right now,
But I've got leaps that I've been rolling. But here's the thing is I have leaps that I've been rolling for commodities markets. I have probably 10 trades open that are leaps from late last year. So because I just closed down the leaps from the bear market coming into last year. So I opened up leaps again. So those I would count those as being open trades, right? So that's I've probably got like 10, 12 of those. And then I have perps trades. I have 14 open right now. But some are longs against shorts. So it's the same position. I'm just hedging on. So I'm bracketing if one side will get stopped out and then price will go that way. Right. So I have a long on one side. I have a short on one side. If it stops out my long side, then the short is going to win. But I also have a break even point between the two. Cause I shorted, for instance, Bitcoin. I built out that position into like 96.7 is like my entry. And I took profits on the way down and I started opening a long position around 89 again. I'm sorry. I started opening at 89 and I started filling it more on the way down to like 87.5 or so. So I'm like averaged at like 88 on one side, but it's a smaller position. Right.
Gotcha.
So that's two positions, but I look at it as one because it's one trade.
Right.
Right. So it really depends on how you play the game. But yeah, multiple exchanges and dexes too. So like, I'm also like, I got people gave me some money to play with a dex to test it out. So
Word.
it ain't my money; it's their money. If I lose, it's their loss.
If you lose it, fuck it, right?
Yeah, it's just to test the decks. So I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah. All right, Lanny, appreciate you, man. Enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna go back to being a junkie, a chart junkie.
Hell yeah, man.
I'll see you next week, man. Good luck on the charts.
Hell yeah, brother. Hey, take care. Have a great weekend.
All right, chat. Shout out to Dave. I see you, Dave. Later, chat.